Hello, class. This is Demetrius Wilson again with Principles of Management. We are now on Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is very, very interesting, speaking about organizational culture, something that's very prevalent in the business world and the business topics these days. So our learning objectives are: describe what organizational culture is and why it is important for an organization. Very important for people to act and learn to act the way that the corporation or company wants them to. Understand the dimensions that make up company cultures or company's culture. Understand the creation and maintenance of organizational culture. Understand factors that create cultural change, and develop personal cultural management skills, meaning can you learn to manage your skills and to act like the culture that is embedded within the company. As always, we have our planning, organizing, leading, and controlling framework up there. For now, it's aligned with the organizational culture. Always good to, as you go through the PowerPoint, to stop by and check on this to make sure it's fully ingrained into your mind. So what is an organizational culture? A system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs that indicate appropriate and inappropriate behavior within a given organization. So this is what the individuals in the organization know that they should do, and this is what they know that they should not do as well. Everyone should be on the same page. It is related to the second of the three facets comprising the POLC function of organizing. The culture of the organization is closely linked to organizational design, which makes sense. So why does organizational culture matter? An organization's culture may be one of its strongest assets or its biggest liabilities. If you all have all of the smart and enthusiastic people at your company, of course your culture is going to be, it's going to be great. It's going to be one that's collaborative. But if you have all of the negative people who don't want to work hard, then your company culture is probably going to suck. Organizational culture is an effective control mechanism dictating employee behavior. So obviously they want to dictate employee behavior. You don't want just people just to come in and act once, any way that they want. We want people to kind of act and work in alignment with what the company's culture is. Culture or shared values within the organization may be related to increased performance. Organizations which have rare and hard to imitate culture may enjoy a competitive advantage. Like if I hired all of the top 100 engineers and brought them to my company, then I would have a competitive advantage. So if you have a certain culture within there, like Disneyland has, then you have a competitive advantage over the competition. Levels of organization, culture, we'll talk about these all the way in the middle. You have your assumptions, you have your values, and you have your artifacts. So basic assumptions lie below awareness. Assumptions are taken for granted and reflect beliefs about human nature and reality. At the second level, values exist. We all have different values, different value systems. Values are shaped principles, standards, and goals. And then artifacts are on the surface and are visible, tangible aspects of organizational culture. These are things that you can see, touch, and feel. As always, we have our discussion questions. Love them, don't leave them. Be sure to go through them. They are actually really good, and they'll lend you some additional insight, such as why do companies need culture. For those of you who are currently working, you'll definitely be able to answer that question very thoroughly. So now we have the dimensions of organizational culture profiles. Let me increase this real quick so I can read to you. Different types of cultures. So we have innovative cultures. Companies that have innovative cultures are flexible, adaptable, and experiment with new ideas, just like Apple. Aggressive culture. Companies with aggressive cultures value outperforming competitors through competitive actions, just like Nike and saying that they want to outperform Adidas and Reebok. Outcome-oriented cultures are companies that emphasize achievement, results, and action as important values and embrace outcome-oriented culture, right? It's a lot of times you'll hear people say, hey, this is a results-based business. The movie Love and Other Drugs painted a pharmaceutical giant Pfizer as a company where employees would take every advantage necessary to close a deal that would enhance the company's bottom line. Then you have your stable cultures. Went too far. Hold on one second. Go back to stable cultures. Companies that emphasize predictable, rule-oriented, and bureaucratic adherence to rules and regulations and inhibit stable cultures such as IBM. Their adherence to such rule following the relatively consistent physical appearance of its employees has led to conjecture that mysterious nickname of Big Blue, right? So some companies, hey, we want to be standard, we want to be by the book, we want everyone to come in here looking the same, and this is exactly what we're going to do, and this is what we're focused on. Let me minimize that a little bit. So people-oriented cultures, organizations that have fairness, supportiveness, and respecting individual rights are said to display a people-oriented culture. So Starbucks, of course, if you didn't already know this, you'll be enlightened to know. A policy of offering health care benefits, tuition reimbursement, and free coffee to both full and part-time employees makes the coffee slinger a model of this profile. Um, Team-oriented cultures, companies that emphasize cooperation and collaboration, such as Southwest Airlines. We'll have in the modules or in the resources, we'll have a video about Southwest Airlines that's really good, and they've made great strides and done great things. Detail-oriented culture, organizations that emphasize precision and attention to detail. Long known for their commitment to customer service, Nordstrom employees exhibited this culture in a story where a customer lost a diamond ring, was discovered in a vacuum cleaner after searching every inch of the store, failed to discover the gem, and these more extensive measures were taken to find it. So that's pretty out there, pretty crazy, but I'm sure they were just so appreciative of what occurred. Back in frame. So we have innovative cultures, flexible, adaptable, experiment with new ideas, just like Apple experiment with the iPhone and the iPad. Aggressive culture, Microsoft has been described as having an aggressive culture. These are our goals, this is what we want, and this is how we're going to attack it. Organizational cultures, outcome-oriented cultures, culture that emphasizes achievement, results, and action as important values. Stable cultures, companies that are stable and predictable, rule-oriented and bureaucratic. That means you have to cut through a lot of red tape. People-oriented cultures, these organizations value fairness, supportiveness, and respecting individual rights. Team-oriented cultures are collaborative and emphasize cooperation among employees. Southwest Airlines is a team-oriented culture. And if you look at Southwest Airlines passenger growth, you see how it continues to drive upward starting before 1975. So detail-oriented culture is a culture that is characterized by the OCP framework as emphasizing precision and paying attention to details. Walt Disney created a strong culture in which survives today in Disney. So if you're like one of those people who goes to Disneyland all the time, you know that if you just drop some trash on the ground, not saying go there and litter, but somebody will pick that up pretty quickly. Challenges of a strong culture, because there are challenges, like we did the SWOT analysis, there's always a weakness to everything. It's difficult to change, right? So if you tell these people this is how we need for you to be that way, stay that way, and then someone else is telling you to change, then it gets kind of difficult. Can be a liability during a merger, such as each separate culture must merge together, right? So multiple cultures within an organization, cultures that emerge within different departments, branches, or geographic locations are called subcultures, right? And sometimes a subculture may take a form of a counterculture, share values and beliefs that are in direct opposition of the values of the broader organizational culture. So more discussion questions, as always. Yes, they are super great. Think about an organization you are familiar with on the basis of the dimensions of OCP. How would you characterize its culture, right? So I want you to talk about how those cultures will be characterized. Then want to press that. All right. So this I want you to look through on your own, creating and maintaining organizational culture. But if you see over here, founder values and preferences, industry demands, all lead into early values, goals, and assumptions, which all lead to all of these different categories: attraction, selection, attrition, new employee onboarding, uh, leadership, reward system, all leading to the organizational culture. So Ben and Jerry's founder values and preference. The social activism of Ben and Jerry was instilled in the company because founders strongly believed in these issues. Social activism helped distinguish Ben and Jerry from larger corporate brands. The values were retained as part of the corporate culture and taught to new members as as the right way to do things. How are cultures maintained? So this is our 6 boxes, but you say attraction right here, right? Then you have selection, attrition, some may leave. You have reward systems, leadership, and onboarding, right? So onboarding is like when someone is hired and you say, okay, we got this person and we want to go ahead and, ingrain them in what we do. Leadership, obviously, the individuals and being able to work through and with them. Reward systems, rewarding people for doing a great job. Attrition, there's going to be a certain amount of attrition that people are going to leave. Selection, attraction and selection, so we're attracted to this candidate and then we select that individual. So this right here, I'm just going to increase a little bit so you can see it for just a second. And we see attraction, selection, attrition framework is valuable for understanding how different organizations create and sustain different culture over time, right? So they may say, hey, you know what, we're going to change our culture. Here, we apply the framework to understanding differences in college and university cultures. So, attraction to organizations is a function of the interests of applicants in different schools. Reasons for attraction to one school versus another school could include the majors offered, ability to place students after graduation, cost or other aesthetics, such as the feel of the campus, and ranking of programs, quality of sports team, and the level of diversity. So then you have your selection, which is pretty self-explanatory. Uh, your attrition. Well, attrition, let's go over attrition. Some of you guys may not be as familiar with that. But attrition refers to the need to eliminate individuals that do not adequately fit within the organization. There's a lot of people who just don't fit, or maybe they used to fit, but they no longer fit. Certain colleges may require a minimal grade point average to prevent underperforming students from failing out of a particular degree program. Law and medical schools traditionally have courses that serve to weed out large numbers of students, right? They don't want you all there. Toward the beginning of the advanced degrees. Attrition may also occur naturally as students realize that they do not fit their school, right? This is not the right place for me to be, so I'm going to vamoose. The process, okay, so this is onboarding. Let me get that there so you can see where onboarding is. This is a process through which new employees learn the attitudes, knowledge, skills, and behaviors required to function effectively within an organization. I brought you in. Now I'm going to sit you down with me and my other various departments to show you how this company should be run and what you should be doing. Onboarding methods use a formal orientation programs or mentoring by supervisors and coworkers, the latter of which is what normally occurs. One more. Leadership. So, what do leaders do direct? What leaders do directly influences the culture of the organization. Right? I see the leader do it, so it's okay for me to do it. Part of the leader's influence over culture is through running, is through role modeling. Leaders also shape culture by their reactions to the actions of others around them. Like, do you blow up? Do you blow your stack or whatever? Or do you become understanding and see how things are going to see how things are going to move and how things are going to change? Rewards influence culture. Of course they do, right? I want to be rewarded for doing such a great job. If you're not rewarded in some way, shape, or form, then you're going to cease fire from doing that good job. The types of behaviors that are rewarded or ignored set the tone for the culture. So behaviors, results, performance, seniority, those are things that can be rewarded. So the types of behaviors that are rewarded or ignored can set the tone. So you also see that it says ignored. So if certain behaviors are ignored, like always coming in late and they don't say anything, then the person will continue to do it. All right, now these are the visual elements of culture. And these are the visual elements of culture. We're almost at 15 minutes, so I'll stop the first portion of the lecture, and then we'll reconvene at Chapter 8, Lecture Part 2. See you soon.